Hi Aries, here is your monthly update for you and your ex-partner. Now, as I always say with these readings, if you are not in any way interested in your ex-partner, then obviously there's no point in viewing this video. So please don't leave comments, regarding, well, it's a waste of time knowing about ex-partners, people need to move on. Because some people do want to move on from their ex-partners and some people don't. Some people are hoping for a reconciliation. Now, the first card we have, I've done the 2-row system like I always do. This is the column for you. This is the column for your ex-partner. Now, the first card we have up here for you is the 9 of Swords. I'm so happy to see this card in the reverse for you. The fact it's a 9, it talks about how this energy's been around with you for some time now. But the fact that it is a 9, it shows it's now coming to an end. And the fact it's reversed also shows me that. This 9 of Swords, it talks about when you're in your own head too much. Worrying, stressing, being awake at night, not being able to sleep, maybe focusing too much on your ex-partner, on what caused the breakup. But the fact it's reversed, it talks about how this is now coming to an end. I think for the majority of you, probably the month of April was quite a turning point for you, when this energy probably did start to subside, okay, if you had been in this energy. Not so much in your own head anymore, not so much worrying or stressing about this situation. Maybe kind of thinking, wow, what will be, will be. If we're meant to be together, we will. If we're not, we're not, okay? But definitely an improvement in this month of May. As I said, for those who maybe have not been sleeping very well, you should see an improvement in that. And you should find that you're not so much in your own headspace when it comes to this ex-partner and your past relationship with them. Now, on their side, they do have the Lovers card. It's number 6 in the Major Arcana and it is reversed. When I see the Lovers card, in terms of this reading being for ex-partner, so where you're not actually in the relationship anymore, it can talk about how they may have some inner conflicts going on for them at the moment. They may in some way be avoiding responsibility for the consequences of their own actions. It may be that deep down they know that they were partly responsible, and in some cases maybe solely responsible, for the situation that you're both in now, okay? The fact that you're not together and the fact that for some of you, you may not even be communicating at all. They know deep down they are partly responsible for this situation, but they may be trying to avoid admitting to that responsibility. They may be trying to avoid owning up to that responsibility. They may also be denying that responsibility to themselves, which then causes this inner conflict within them. It is possible for some of them they have made a rushed decision. What they may need to do is to try to make amends here. Now, for some of you, making amends may lead to a reconciliation. For some of you, making amends may just be an apology that could possibly lead to a friendship for some of you, if that's what you want. They also may need to seek counsel from someone. They may need to speak to somebody that they can trust, who's going to give them an honest and unbiased viewpoint. But like I said, for a lot of you, your ex-partners, I feel, are feeling some sort of inner conflict because they know that they were, as I said, partly or solely responsible for the situation that you're both now in. Now, in terms of how you may be feeling at the moment, we do have the Ace of Cups here. It is upright, so it's very positive, okay? The Cups is water energy, and it does talk of our feelings and our emotions, okay? The fact it's an ace, it talks about new beginnings. It is possible for some of you that you may have met somebody, or during this month of May, you may actually meet somebody new that brings about this emotional contentment. But it could also be, like I said, if you're coming out of this Nine of Swords energy, you might, on an emotional level, just start to be feeling happier. The Ace of Cups, it doesn't always have to talk about being in love with somebody. It doesn't always have to talk about a relationship. It can talk about how you, in this month of May just start to feel more emotionally fulfilled and happy, regardless of this situation with your ex-partner. For some of you, yes, this could be talking about how you do maybe still have a lot of feelings for your ex-partner. How this cup for you is still overspilling with emotions and feelings for your ex-partner. It may also be that during this month of May, you may want to speak up and tell your ex-partner how you are truly feeling and how much you do still feel for them on an emotional level. How much feelings you do still have for them. On their side, they do have the Six of Cups. Now, yes, the Six of Cups can sometimes talk about somebody from your past returning, okay? So if you have been separated for a long time, you know, not just a recent breakup, okay, maybe it's possible that you and the ex-partner may very well bump into each other, or the ex-partner may choose to come to see you and visit you, okay? But also, the Six of Cups can talk about looking back at a relationship with fond and happy memories. Looking back at a relationship that made them feel emotionally fulfilled, made them feel safe, secure, happy and contented. They could be looking back at this relationship when it was in its so-called honeymoon period, before things may have started to go wrong. And if they are looking back at this relationship and remembering all the good and happy times, it may very well be causing this inner conflict for them. Because they may be looking back at this relationship and starting to realise how good and happy this relationship actually was. Now, down here, we do have the Eight of Cups. It is reversed. The Eight of Cups, when it's upright, it talks about walking away from something that you are emotionally attached to, or walking away from your emotional connection to something, leaving your emotions behind and moving on. The fact this card is reversed, it talks about you, Aries, maybe feeling that there is a lack of closure on this situation. Maybe still being in two minds here. Maybe still feeling an emotional connection to your ex-partner, if that is the case with this Ace of Cups. But also thinking, is it time for you to turn your back on this situation and walk away? The thing with this card as well is it can talk about discarding meaningful offers that may get made to you. So as an example, if through the month of May your ex-partner was to contact you, maybe to apologise, maybe just to talk, whatever, and you may feel, how can I explain? I want to use the word stubborn, but maybe you would act in maybe a stubborn way. Or maybe you would at first try to block them and freeze them out. But that in itself may be a mistake. Because it is possible that if they do contact you, they could very well be speaking from the heart. And they may very well be wanting to repair what has gone wrong. This is either talking to you, Aries, in the sense of being undecided as to whether to walk away and completely turn your back on this situation. Or, like I said, for some of you, it could very well be that during this month of May, you may very well hear from your ex-partner. And you may be very tempted to not accept the phone call or shut the door in their face, so to speak. But you need to rethink that, okay? Don't be so hasty if you find yourself in that situation. On their side, they've got the King of Cups. So, for some of you, we could be talking about a water sign here. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. It's not gender specific in these general readings. And for some of you, it's not going to be a water sign, okay? And that's fine. The thing with the King of Cups is he does know how to solve problems and issues, okay? He's very much a good negotiator. He's also learned to keep his emotions in check. He's become very balanced in the emotional sense. Now, that's not to say he doesn't feel emotions, because he does. The fact that he's a water sign, he feels things greatly. And a lot of his choices and decisions are made based on his emotions. He is somebody that is normally very forthright and loyal and honest. So like I said, you're either dealing with somebody who has those qualities of the King of Cups, or as I said, it is possible for some of you we are talking about a water sign. Now, your outcome, for you, we have the Strength card. And it is reversed, and it's number 8 in the Major Arcana. When the Strength card's reversed, it can talk about lacking the strength to be able to deal with a particular situation. It may be with that 8 of Cups there, that you may very well lack the strength to be able to completely turn your back and walk away from this situation. But also, when the Strength card is reversed, it can talk about being too aggressive or displaying signs of anger. Quite often, if you feel that you're lacking the strength to be able to deal with something, it may very well bring out that aggressive, angry side to somebody's nature. With this Strength card, when it's reversed, it talks about you needing to draw upon all your inner reserves here and to confront the problem. Don't lose your temper. Don't get angry. Like I said with that 8 of Cups, if that's not talking about you thinking whether to walk away or not, it is talking about maybe your ex-partner contacting you and you may be being tempted to, as I said, you know, disconnect the call or not be open to speaking to them, whereas really deep down that is what you want to do. You need to be very careful here, Aries. Now, their outcome card is the 5 of Pentacles. The 5 of Pentacles, it talks about that feeling of being left out in the cold. It is very possible that your ex-partner may be feeling in some way unwanted by you, abandoned, ignored. The fact of it is, if they do communicate with you and you are a bit too hasty and you don't accept that communication because you are feeling angry, then it could end up where they feel this way. The Five of Pentacles, it's always a sad energy to me. You know, it talks about these people being left out in the cold here. Quite often it can talk about that being more of a fear than an actual loss. But like I said, it may be that this, especially if you are going to show or display these signs of aggression and anger, it may very well be that it leaves your ex-partner feeling this way. Now, to clarify those two cards, on your side, you got Judgment, number 20 in the Major Arcana. After the Judgment card, we get the World card, and the World card is the last card in the Major Arcana, and it can talk about travel, international travel, but the World card can also talk about one chapter coming to an end in order for a new chapter to begin. But in order to get that new chapter, you need to make a judgment call here. Now, this can go either way. It's on your side, Aries. And it's like this person is blowing this whistle, this final trumpet here, to resolve and bring whatever the situation is to a conclusion. Now, this could be talking about you in this month of May, bringing this situation to a conclusion and deciding to completely turn your back on this. And that's it, done, finished. But it could talk about you bringing a conclusion and an end to the situation that has occurred so far, in order for you and your ex-partner to be able to start a brand new chapter, to be able to resolve things. Now, on their side, I did take two more cards to clarify, because the card they had on top of the Five of Pentacles was the Hangman. And as we know with the Hangman, it talks about somebody literally hanging around, choosing to keep themselves in this position. The light around the head, it talks about this person trying to get fresh ideas, fresh insight, almost waiting for that epiphany. It could be that your ex-partner is literally going in this month of May, especially if they do contact you, may very well be hanging around, waiting to see the outcome if they choose to communicate with you. If they're feeling left out in the cold and ignored and abandoned, they may themselves be struggling to move entirely forward. And they may be choosing to keep themselves in this position in order for them to work out what they need to do or what they really want, or in order to see how you're going to play things, what your next move is going to be. Now, to top off that Hangman, the next card I got for them was the Emperor. Now, the Emperor, strangely enough, is the card for Aries. So we could be saying that, okay, in this situation, maybe they are being that hangman. They are choosing to keep themselves hanging around because they are waiting for things to come back together with you two, you being the Aries, or even for some form of communication. If this card is not in reference to the fact that you are the Aries, then the Emperor talks about rulership. It talks about strength. It talks about willpower. And it talks about somebody that takes charge. So it could very well be talking about how, yes, they may be in limbo. And they may be hanging around. But by the end of the month, we could see that situation changing, where they then decide to take on the qualities of the Emperor. It may even be for some of you that you were involved with an Aries. Or if it's a water sign, maybe there is some Aries in their chart. That Emperor card is also for the sign of Taurus, okay? But it may be that they decide to take charge in this situation. That they decide to stand up now and try to resolve this situation. There's a judgment call going to be made by you, Aries. And for some of you, it is going to be where you're going to decide, no, I don't want this. And yes, for some of you, it is going to talk about a reconciliation here. So, that does bring this ex-partner reading to a close. And I will see you again next week for the weekly general readings. Take care and thank you so much for watching. Bye.